My sister took every penny from my inheritance when she found out I was adopted until they saw my billionaire biological dad's mansion. The death of my father came faster than I expected. And to my surprise, the second he died, my family decided it was the best time to break a family secret to me they've been hiding my entire life. My family shocked me with a very big secret after the death of my father. I've always known that there was a secret looming around somewhere since the very first day I became conscious in this world. I just could not pinpoint exactly what it was. My family has always been somewhat nice to me, especially my father. However, my siblings acted like I was the devil's spawn. It did not take me long enough to realize that siblings fought all the time. I believed that no matter how much we threw insults at each other, the love would always be there. So I learned to adapt to my siblings' hostility. My sister, Mia, was still quite sweet, but my two sisters were a nightmare, especially the oldest, Stefan. She was always referred to me as the child that wasn't needed. That statement did a lot of psychological damage to me in my early childhood years. However, being an intelligent individual who later studied psych major in the universities, I convinced myself that the last born in several households were usually unplanned by parents. I told myself that this did not mean that I wasn't loved. It just meant that my parents did not exactly expect my arrival after having 3 children, but that was okay. Stefan would always talk about how our mother was quite reckless because she got pregnant again just 3 months after giving birth to her 3rd child. Mia would talk about how I should have been aborted because it was biologically wrong. However, my parents were quick to shut her up and assure me that I was exactly where I was needed. I didn't exactly take offense to her words. I've always had a thing for studying human emotions and behavior. It was my dream to become a therapist, so I learned just to deal with human behavior. For several years, I used my 2 sisters, especially Stefan, as a sort of psychological experiment. I learned to absorb every insult she threw at me, including her permanent nickname for me, quote, the unwanted child. However, as we began to grow older, those childish insults and torments from her dropped. It was still quite evident that she did not fancy me, but she knew that her past insults didn't really get to me. At least, that was how I made it look. So she gave up constantly taunting me. Instead, anytime I came close to her to at least bond with the eldest sister, she would tell me to go play with our mother. I gave up, moved on, and accepted my fate. I come from a very wealthy family, never lacked any material thing right from when I was born. My family's wealth intimidated my father's siblings. It wasn't the kind of wealth inherited from older generations. My father hustled. He hustled for his wealth, so his siblings could not lay claim to any of it. However, he was a damn good man. He made sure to satisfy the material needs of the extended family, but this did not seem to be enough. In their view, my father would always be the stingy man. The man who gave out little compared to what he had and how much he spent on his wife and children. However, aren't most extended family members always like this? Most wealthy homes I know always have 1 or 2 family members, especially from the father's side, that are always jealous of their siblings' wealth. As a psych major, I took this situation to be a quite normal one. In fact, I made excuses for the behavior of people around me. I gave the impression that nothing actually got to me. No words or actions. Even when they did, I tried to bury them deep down and just tell myself that humans would always be humans. My mother constantly commended me on my emotional strength, according to her. I was the peacemaker of the family. The one who would always sprinkle water on a rising fire. My mother was always there to assure me of how I was loved in the family. I could say that she kind of was the reason I felt so mentally and emotionally stable, and not because of the psychological classes. My personal life seemed to be going perfectly well. I graduated from the university, joined an agency that focuses on social experiments, and was just about to be picking up my master's form when I heard some very devastating news. It was just a sunny Saturday afternoon. And as usual, my father was laying on one of the patio furnitures with his laptop on his legs and a small table that held a jug of orange juice and some cookies. My father had been on the furniture for more than 5 hours, and my mother was starting to get worried. She went outside to check him, only to find out he stopped breathing. My father was dead without any warning, or so I thought. I was currently in another state when I heard the news. My sister, Mia, broke the news to me as my mother was not in the right frame of mind, just like how I've learned to conceal my emotions for a very long time. I tried not to show my grief. I took the next flight and was back home within the next 24 hours. My oldest sister, Stefan, seemed to be handling things well, although it was quite obvious that she held her pain too, just like me. Tony was almost nowhere to be found, although I heard she's been going in and out of local bars since the news of our father's death. I guess she decided to drown her grief in alcohol.